Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, The Inked Reader. Today I am filming my October TBR, and usually I would pick up a random shelf behind me, and we've just got 3 left, and I would just go through the books that I have to read and the ones I've already read and show you the shelf. This month I'm gonna cheat a bit just because, due to the fact that it's October and Halloween season, I looked at my shelves and looked at the shelf that had the most unread horror books, and the only shelf is this one. So of all the other 2 left, they are mostly blue and I think the pink shelf, there are no horror on it, while this one has a couple. And I thought, listen, it's Halloween season, I'm gonna cheat a bit, I'm gonna pick myself a shelf so I can get to read a couple of horrors during Halloween season. It just makes sense. The majority of those books behind me I've already read, so I'm gonna show you the shelf and maybe I can find a couple of more horrors that I got around my shelves and add them into the TBR, plus the favorite as always will come in. And I do also have a book that my friend lended to me and it's an horror, so I'm gonna add that up to my TBR as well. So I'll show you the shelf. I'll start with the books this month and then I'm gonna do the comics potentially another time, because filming another time, you're gonna see one video only, but I might film my comics TBR a bit later in the month because I've not decided yet if I want to purchase anything or if I've got enough stuff to have a spooky Halloween on that side as well. We will see. Sorry, it's very gloomy and very fall season weather. In London has been like this all year, to be fair. But yeah, the light is what it is. I need to get some lights for my bookshelves, but one thing at a time. I'm going to remove the Funko Pops and I'm going to show you the books. So, all the bodies. This is a YA, I believe, horror or like thriller/horror. And it's by Kendra Blake, an author I really enjoyed, Anna Dressed in Blood series by her. So I'm going to read these. I've not read it. Looks stunning, this cover. I'm thinking of ending things. I have read these, but it's a perfect Halloween read if you have not. And the same goes from The Shining. Of course, I've read The Shining and I loved The Shining. Okay, one I've not read is No One Gets Out Alive. This is also a Netflix movie. I might not watch the movie because I don't do scary movies on average. But I've not read the book and I heard it's creepy, it's horror, it's threatening. So we are here for it. Miserere is a horror fantasy, high fantasy sort of. Is very weird, but has one of the best exorcism that I've ever read in books. Not that I've read that many, but that bit, the exorcism part, was amazing, and that was so good that kind of redeemed the rest of the book, which was just okay for me. But such a good exorcism scene that I had to keep this book. It's unique. It's a unique fantasy and it's a standalone. Okay, one that I look less forward to read, but listen, I'm gonna give it a try, and if I can't do it, I'm gonna DNF and donate this to a charity or sell it. We'll see. This is Thoughtless and it's an erotica and romance. Don't even know how I got in my hands, to be fair. One that I'm so looking forward to read is The Last House on Needless Street. This was all over the place a few years back, couple of years back. It's blurred by Stephen King. I've not read it and I need to. And what month is more perfect than Halloween? Halloween month, I mean. Crime and Punishment. I have read these. I loved these, and yeah, I'm wanna reread it, but I might not do it this year just because of time. The Foxglove King. With a Fairloot edition. I hated this book, but it looks so pretty in the pages, so I kept it. Blood Fever. I believe this might be book number 2 in fantasy. Yes, it should be number 2. I'll check, but I should be able to read this month. It's a kind of urban fantasy fae series. I really enjoyed book number 1, so I want to continue on. And if it's book number 2, I will. I think this is potentially a crime thriller book. I don't know, I'll check the synopsis and get back to you, but I've not read this. Patrick Melrose, Volume 1. I guess it's a book though. Never Ward Awake, by the same author that did Night Film. Very much looking forward to reading these. I've not read these. I have read Catwoman by Sarah J. Maas. And of course I have read Daughter of Smoke and Bone, and I acquired this box set because it was just too stunning. A Court of Mist and Fury, I read it. Redemptor is book number 2 in a series. The first one is Raybearer. I've not read them. These are a Fairlight edition, but I don't need to read these because I've not read number 1. Sorry, moving you again. I've not read The Adventures of Amina al-Sirafi. Never got around to the month I was supposed to, so I'm gonna attempt again. These are some of the best sprayed edges ever. Woo. Frankenstein I have read and loved. I am tempted to reread it, but I don't wanna. I need to get through the books I've not read yet and decide what to keep and what not. So no rereads forever for this year. Rebecca. I love Rebecca. Of course I read Rebecca. And last one that I'm really looking forward to read is Kingdom of the Cursed, which is book number 2 after Kingdom of the Wicked, something of the sort. I really enjoyed the first one. Ended up on a cliffhanger. I wanted to continue on, and this is the perfect occasion to do so as it came up. I've got the books and I am ready to go through them, but before I do so I will attempt my fairy loots as well as always, and I'm also expecting Illuminate Evernight box. So that is a horror release, but I'm not sure when the box is gonna be here. So potentially it's gonna come around end of October, so I might not be able to, and I will have to push it back to November, we will see. But wait for my unboxing of the month where I put all my unboxings there, so I'll share with you, and if there is time I will add those in. So I'm gonna go through the synopsis of the books I just picked up, but before I do so I have added 2 more just because I like to be overly ambitious and then punctually fail my TBRs every month. But my friend lent these to me ages ago because I had attempted the audiobook and could not get into it, but she said actually it's quite good, you should give it another try. So this is the Only Good Indians, and yeah, she lent it to me. I want to read it. It's a horror book, and it's written by Native American author, and the protagonists are Native Americans. And all I know is that one day they went hunting in the woods, a group of men, and something happened on the hunt that will hunt her forever, something of the sort. So they come back for the hunt and there is a creature after them, and I don't know if it's a curse, I don't know if it's based on like supernatural horror, I have no idea what to expect. But this is fairly popular in the horror genre. Some people loved it, some people were just meh about it. I've kept it for more than a year now. It is time, so I'm gonna try and make a priority this month to read these. Now, the books on my shelves, let's go through them, and then at the end I added 1 more because I'm like, I don't know, I like to torture myself in that sense. So I've got, first of all, Blood Fever. This is the 2nd book in the series by Karen Marie Moning. Moning? That's a weird surname for someone who writes kind of erotica fantasy. I mean, let's not get into that. Anyway, all I remember from these is that you follow this woman and she has to go to Ireland because I remember that her sister or her twins dies. She's killed. So she needs to investigate what happened to her sister, other twin or just sister, I'm not sure. And she goes to Ireland and she finds out that she's actually partly fae, or she has something to do with faes that are real, and there are a lot of court intrigues, and there are like a love triangle. I remember loving the first book despite me remembering very little about the plot. I just enjoyed writing a lot. So yeah, I'm gonna continue on. If you hear any weird noises, it's the chair, I promise. And then I've got No One Gets Out Alive, which I'm very excited about because this sounds like a perfect Halloween read, and it's about this woman very much down her luck that accepts to rent a room in this house that is very old and full of noises and full of creepy stuff happening, but she doesn't have much money and the room is for cheap. So she accepts the room, she starts living there, and she starts hearing women weeping behind the walls. And the homeowner is very creepy. His cousin makes an appearance and makes everything 1,000 times worse. And from the back it says, "And in a house where no one listens to the screams, will she ever get out alive?" So it sounds like very haunted house, horrifying things happening, and even the cover is quite creepy. So yeah, I'm all for a haunted house. Horror some of my favorite tropes are like horror that takes place in a haunted house. The next one I'm super excited about, The Last House on Needless Street. I don't want to know much about this book. All I know is that you follow this apparently normal family, dad and his daughter and their cat, that they live on this normal street and they are normal people, and then a neighbor moves in and turns out that this family maybe is not that normal and there is something buried in the woods near this house. And it's not what you expect. It literally says there is something buried there and it's not what you think. I've heard people being blown away by this book and I am ready for it. And I really, really hope that the hype won't ruin this for me. I truly hope so. So don't tell me anything about the plot. I don't want to know anything, but do let me know if you read it and what you thought about it. Because in books like these, I would honestly prefer either I love it or I hate it. I would be disappointed only if this book turns out to be meh. Okay, next one, I might DNF. We will see, because maybe actually that's where the surprise is. I can actually end up loving this more than anything else. I highly doubt it. I think this came from a period where I was reading romance erotica stories, which was early 20s, and it's been a lot of years. All I know is it's about this girl that leaves everything behind to go and support her boyfriend in his move to Seattle. So they move in with some housemates, and then something forces them apart, and she starts to grow closer to the housemate, which is the lead singer in a rock band. I don't know anything else about it. It's massive, so I really hope it has something to say apart from just probably sex scenes. We will see. Okay, I think so. She wrote also like a series I really love, which is Three Dark Crowns. I've read the first of that book, the trilogy, and really loved it. But I also do believe that she wrote Anna Dressed in Blood. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments down below, but this is, I think, a standalone for what I know of. The story is about this serial killer. There are these 16 bodies that have been found drained completely of blood, and the only suspect is a 15-year-old girl called Mary. And so Mary, she's apprehended and she is now interrogated as being, you know, the guilty party. However, she doesn't speak, and the only person she confesses what's going on, what's happening, is the sheriff's son called Michael. And from there the story goes, I guess. We're gonna find out why time is running out, who is Mary, why are the bodies drained of blood. I don't know if it's supernatural or just a thriller horror. We will see. I'll let you know once I've read it. I don't know what this genre this is, I'll be really honest. So I don't remember why I picked it up. I think I heard someone reviewing it and really liking it. So this is called Volume 1 because it contains 3 stories of Patrick Melrose, who is this man that moved from USA to England. And don't ask me to pronounce the name of the town in England or Scotland, maybe Scotland, because I'm not gonna butcher the name that way. Basically, this man who is addicted to drugs has a lot of issues, and he used to have like a violent dad and cruel father and an alcoholic mother, and he now has moved and he's taking along his past, his glittering parties, his addiction. No idea what comes out of it, no idea who he is, what he does, what his job is, what this book is about. I'll let you know. It might be just a literature fiction. I honestly generally don't remember why I picked it up, apart from I guess there is a TV show of these that I've never heard of, which is probably not very good, or maybe I'm just not, it's just not one in the genre that I usually follow, so that's why I might not know much about the TV show of this book. If you ever heard of these, let me know in the comments down below. I'm curious. No spoilers, but I don't know what to expect, so I'm just curious. Let's pick it up if I can in October and let's find out. Okay, so this one, I have some recollection of from a synopsis that I heard someone saying someone sharing when they were reviewing this, but I don't remember much. I know that there is potentially a kind of supernatural, not really twist to these. Like there is a side of these that is a bit like magic rallies, perhaps something of the sort, but we will see. All the synopsis says is that B has not spoken with her best friend since the mysterious and sudden death of her boyfriend, and she used to hang out with this group of people, and now the death occurred and so she never spoke with them, and now she's forced back with them for where the situation is. She's forced to face them, and then something happens one night when she is with them, and there is a stranger man knocking at their car window where they all are on, and just saying that they need to make a very difficult choice. Now all I can remember, and I don't think generally there is a spoiler because it was again shared by someone sharing the synopsis of his book without any spoilers, is that they get stuck somewhere and they need to make a choice in order to get unstuck, and that choice is very hard to make. And hopefully we will also find out why the boyfriend is dead, what happened back then. So yeah, I enjoyed a lot her Night Film book, as you might know if you've watched some of my recent videos, so I'm looking forward to read some more from her. Oh, a witchy book, and a hell book, Demons and Witches actually. Kingdom of a Curse, with the second installment in, I believe it's a trilogy by Maniscalco. I hated her Stalking Jack the Ripper series, and I loved the Wicked King, or the Wicked Kingdom. What was it called? I don't even remember. Anyway, the first book is about this witch whose sister is killed by a demon, and she has to team up with another demon in order to solve the mystery of who killed her sister. And it took place in Italy. It was full of Italian culture and food from the south of Italy, which I'm less familiar with. So for me, her writing, the atmosphere that she created worked perfectly well, and I really enjoyed the demon character and her character. She's sassy, she is definitely not perfect, she has a lot of flaws, and it just works perfectly, her flaws with the demon and his character, and it does end up on a cliffhanger. And I was tempted at the time to pick up immediately the sequel. I resisted, and now the time has come. And the last book that was on that shelf that I'm gonna read tentatively is The Adventures of Amina Al-Sirafi. This is The Stunning Fairy Lute. If I remember which month it came in, I'll link down below my unboxing for these. This is a high fantasy about a piratess that has retired, wants to live her life in peace, and a job that she can't refuse comes around, and so she needs to go on one more journey with her crew. And yeah, we go from there. I've heard amazing things about these. I do believe it's a standalone, but I might be wrong about these. Don't quote me on these. A lot of people loved these, and I was bummed the month I couldn't get couldn't get around to read these. Now I'll be really honest, because it's Halloween season, I will prioritize horror books, so I might not get around to these or any of the other ones that are not necessarily horror. I will prioritize again horror. I think this year I've been more kind with myself, and if I can't read a book, I can just go back to the shelves. It will get more opportunities, more chances to be read. And the last one I'm adding as a book, because I'm dying to read it, and just Halloween season is the perfect season, is Between Two Fires. I don't know anything else from the synopsis of these apart from this is a medieval horror. I listened to a novella at the beginning of the year, which was a medieval horror novella, and then I went on a rabbit hole of finding more medieval horrors, and there weren't many out there, but I did find this. All I know is about these three characters. Two of them are they have to redeem themselves because they have not been very good people, and one of them is a girl that they're trying to save or something of the sort, and they are traveling. They're undertaking a journey across a medieval French countryside decimated by war and plague, encountering along the way martyrs and saints, brigands and fools, the damned and their hellish masters. So probably it's full of like demons, hell references, and you got like a probably morally grey main character or characters. I've heard mixed things about this one, but because I was so fascinated by the novella, I wanted to give more of a chance to medieval horror and see if it's something that can really work for me. Now, I love horror in general, so I doubt this won't work unless I hate the writing. It's written pretty big, the cover is cool, and I am ready to dig in. Okay guys, so let's talk about the manga and graphic novels that I am planning to read in October. Now I'm gonna do the first part of this is gonna be just stuff that I've got I own and I'm gonna read, and I've tried to choose mostly horror or dark fantasy to stay in theme with spooky season. And then I am potentially planning to buy a couple of more things that I found on Amazon, but I don't know yet which ones I'll end up purchasing. So first of all, I'm gonna continue on with Hell Paradise Volume 3. This is a very grim dark fantasy / horror manga, and it's just 13 volumes long, and you basically follow this renegade, this ninja, sort of ninja, that has been apprehended by the police and condemned to death. And in order to have his life spared, he can go to this island where people usually go and never come back to find the elixir for eternal life. And the island is renowned to be full of monsters and to be quite deadly. So yeah, he decides to go, because the alternative would be just to be killed right there. And you follow him and this island and a bunch of other characters, and has been so grossly entertaining. I love the art, but also what I love a lot about this is the mystery of this island and what's going on there. So yeah, loving this, continue on. Then this one initially wasn't on my TBR, but I feel like if I don't read a volume, I will start forgetting what it is about, so I need to read a volume. It's Jujutsu Kaisen. I am making my way slowly through the series, and I've got volume 4 here. This is about this bunch of kids, humans, that are trying to defend Earth from demons, and these demons are trying to consume body pieces of another demon in order to gain powers. And so they are actually putting up this academy to save the world from bad destiny, and in order to do so, some of them, they can have powers themselves, and our main protagonist in particular, he has ingested a particularly powerful demon piece at the beginning of the story, and so he can now transform and fight demons while being a demon, sort of. It's a bit complex as a synopsis, but yeah, so far I'm enjoying it. I'm continuing on. Sorry, I am a bit of a sweat mess today, but it's quite warm outside, which I won't complain about. Then I am continuing to read Hellboy. This is volume 3. And Hellboy has been an amazing read. A very dark, paranormal, horrorish fantasy, not too brutal though, that I've been loving, and I think it's particularly fit for spooky season because of the art, because of the lore and the stories. And you follow Hellboy, who is born during World War II, and he's born summoned by the Nazis in order to bring destruction and bring the end of the war. However, he's raised by someone who is against that, is actually raising him to do good, and he ends up growing up and becoming a paranormal investigator, where he travels the world solving mysteries and saving people, and has been amazing. Doradoro volume 8. I am continuing on Doradoro and reading these. Doradoro is the perfect choice for Halloween season because this is a horror dystopian manga, and you follow Kaiman, who's been transformed into a Kaiman. But inside his head there is a human head that has a history and a past he cannot remember, and he's on the lookout. He's searching for the sorcerer in this dark world that transformed him in order to regain his memories and know where his origins are, and potentially, hopefully, be transformed back into a human. I've spoke about Doradoro a bunch of times. It's a very popular series, and I've been absolutely loving every moment of it, and I'll continue on in October. Actually, I'm also continuing on with Fire Punch. A couple of you asked about Fire Punch. No, I'm not giving up on it. I just had to acquire other volumes, and I did find volume 6 on my journey in central London. I went to Forbidden Planet and found the next couple of volumes for these. Well, actually, volume 6 and 8, I need to purchase the 7th one. I can't show you anything because it's a spoiler, so I'm just gonna show you the cover. But this is the same mangaka that did Chainsaw Man, and this is a very horror, dystopian, grim dark series where you follow the aftermath of a sort of apocalypse in which some humans have gained powers, and one human specifically has used those powers to froze Earth. So there is no food, people are dying, and at the beginning of the story you follow these two siblings trying to survive and keep alive their small village. They do so by using their powers, which are quite intense and twisted in a sense, but also amazing in another sense because of the world they are living in. So this is an extremely bleak series. I would say if you're in a happy mood, don't read this because it's going to put you in a very bad mood. It's horrific what's happening, but it's Fujimoto. He's a great author, as we know, And yeah, I'm finishing this series. Not this month, probably next month I may mean to finish this, but for now I'm just gonna read volume 6. Also finishing actually this month, because this is the last volume that's out. Probably they will ever be out, don't quote me on this, because they can change the mind, Dark Horse, but that I know of, this is gonna be the last one. It's the last one currently translated that I know of. This is the Kurosagi Corpse Delivery Service. This is the bind up, so contains 3 volumes, and it's volume number 5. Looks stunning, and this is a series, it's an episodic series mostly, where you follow this bunch of kids that have powers related to dead bodies. So they can find dead bodies, they can speak with dead bodies, and so in order to make some money while attending university, they go on a hunt for bodies and help them reunite with family, solving the last things that they had on in life, solving murders when, you know, a body's been murdered and so forth. Doesn't give a vibe of Scooby-Doo at all, but it's the idea of a paranormal hunting party with a bunch of spooky things happening. And volume 4 was quite horror-ish, so I am finishing this because it's a great read for spooky season. And then I am starting a series, and that is Day Dark by Hayashida. She created Dorodoro. So yes, I initially didn't want to start a series while I'm still reading Dorodoro, but this sounds so cool for Halloween. It looks so cool, and I never have enough of her art style and their stories. And in particular, this, you follow Sanko. Sanko's body is imbued with these magical powers, for which if you consume his body or his bones actually, you are granted any kind of wish. So of course people want to kill him, consume him, and then they can kind of rule the universe. So him and his skeletal body have to run away from murders, trying to live their teenage lives at the same time, and eat spaghetti. And it sounds like that kind of mix between horror, action, and humor that I love from the mangaka. And then a couple of things that are not horror, but I just wanted to have like some palette cleanser, something very light. I want to read Adventure Time Volume 8. This is Adventure Time. I'll show you just some of the art, and you understand from the art why this middle grade series is just the perfect palette cleanser. Sorry, my window just got shut from the wind. And then I'm gonna read volume 9 of the East Blue One Piece saga. So yes, I'm reading One Piece for the first time. I know the volume 9. I heard that finally in volume 9 like a lot of things come together, or it's a very special volumes for a lot of big fans of the saga, so I'm looking forward to it. I was thinking about pushing to November, but I'm curious after volume 8 to see where this is going. So yeah, reading volume 9 of this. Yeah, let me know if you read any of those, if you heard of any of those in the comments down below. I would love to hear from you, and if any recommendations, if you say, oh, you should pick this one up because it was so good. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching. If you're new, I would love for you to subscribe, hit the button down below. I'll see you next time. Take care of yourself. Ciao!